All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, it's time for our second interview. Dr. Bashir Aliyu Umar is joining me right now. He's the Deputy Chairman, Financial Regulation Advisory Council of Experts at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Good morning to you, Dr. Bashir. Welcome to the program. Dr. Bashir, are you there? Oh, okay. Yes, Dr.
Hello,
yes, I can hear you, Dr. Bashir. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Nancy.
Yes, let's get started very quickly. CBN non-interest financial interventions. We had a bit of the discussion last week. My viewers would still like to know what the modalities are and perhaps why the Central Bank of Nigeria decided to do that, because we know there are quite a lot of interventions, but why non-interest? Dr. Umar, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Perhaps we need to reconnect with...
Hello?
Dr. Umar, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Nancy.
Okay, did you hear my question?
Yeah, I had your question regarding the CBN non-interest intervention. Among the mandates of the Apex Bank is to have an even growth in the country. And it has been observed that those who are averse to interest have not been able to access several developmental schemes initiated by the CBN to reposition the economy. 2 years ago, the Commercial Agriculture Credit Scheme, the non-interest version, was issued by the CBN, and the management of the CBN, its acceptance, it made its intention known since that time that all further intervention funds and developmental schemes, they are going to have a non-interest version, because this is in line with its policy of financial inclusion. This will bring more people into the into the formal financial sector, engender even growth. It will also engender even growth in the country, looking at the fact that quite a number of people, they have not been able to be accessing these funds because of their belief that interest is not permissible. So in the spirit of financial inclusion and having even growth, and also the constitutional provision that calls for all Nigerians to be able to realize their economic potential without any discrimination in terms of race, religion, or geographical location, the CBN went ahead to introduce this developmental.
Okay, the question also, Dr. Umar, if you're still there and if you can still hear me, the question is, if I'm not, yes, Dr. Umar, the question is, if I'm not a Muslim, if I do not practice Islam as a religion, can I also take advantage of this CBN non-interest financial intervention?
Yeah, that is, you know, the CBN guidelines for non-interest banks, which was released as early as 2011, clearly say that there should be no discrimination in accessing the services of these institutions based on religion or state or any other consideration. So every Nigerian is entitled to also benefit from the non-interest version, even if he also has access to the interest version, to the conventional version. So there is no discrimination, just as in dealing with in the non-interest banks, you also have customers and depositors that also there is no discrimination in the services offered by these institutions.
Okay, Dr. Umar, can you just quickly break down some of those interventions that are non-interest? Is it the same as the conventional ones that are on right now? If it's not the same, are there non-interest versions of the same conventional ones that are on right now?
Yeah, they are the same conventional ones. The Accelerated Agriculture Credit Scheme, the Textile Intervention Scheme, the agribusiness and small and microfinance institutions the Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development Fund, the AGSMEIS, the Anchor Borrower Program, the Non-Oil Stimulation Facility, the Healthcare Intervention, and also the Targeted Credit Facility as a result of COVID-19. All these are the conventional versions. They have the non-interest version. So it is just the same in terms of modalities. In terms of conditionalities, they are the same. But the participating financial institutions in offering these products, for the non-interest, they are only the licensed non-interest banks, and for some of them, for some of the interventions, the licensed non-interest microfinance banks. And also the modalities of accessing the funds, they are different. For the non-interest, it is a direct loan between the central bank and the participating financial institution on one hand, then between the participating financial institution and the beneficiaries on the other hand. It's just a loan that has interest. That's the conventional version. For the non-interest, there are contracts that have been approved that are compliant to the principles of non-interest banking, as stated by the CBN, and also as in accordance with Islamic commercial jurisprudence. These contracts have been approved by the CBN for these institutions. So basically, the contracts are the ones that are used in creating the relationship between the central bank and the participating financial non-interest institutions on one hand, and the institutions and the beneficiaries on the other hand.
Hello YouTubers, welcome to Moneyline with Nancy TV YouTube channel. This is where we provide you with instructive business directions, processes and guidance to help you assess the right resources to fund your businesses to withstand every form of internal and external shock. You will find here awesome informative videos on business, entrepreneurship and lifestyle just to help you make informed business and financial decisions. Punch the subscribe button and let us drive you through the world of business. Please follow all our social media platforms on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and follow us for latest updates on our website. Doctor, I remember I asked you this question last week, but let me ask it again for the benefit of those that did not watch. The conventional interventions that the central bank is up with now goes at about 5% interest rate. Since we are talking about non-interest intervention, what happens to that 5% interest rate in the non-interest setting? If, for example, I go to Bank ABC, which is a non-interest bank, and I want to be part of this intervention, does that mean that I will not pay that interest of 5%? Because I know that the Islamic banks or non-interest banks operate on profit and loss sharing model too. So does that mean that if I go there, I won't pay the 5%?
Yeah, the fact that it is non-interest does not mean that there is no return on the principal. There is a return, but the return is not a premium on a loan advance. The return is going to be a profit based on a profit sharing arrangement. So it will be a portion of the profit, or it will be a markup based on a sale transaction, sale of an asset, or the construction or manufacture of an asset and its eventual sale, or the ownership of an asset that will be leased. So the lease rentals will represent the return. So it is the same return of 5%, but structured in such a way as to avoid making it a premium on loan advances. But it could be a profit sharing arrangement, or a markup in a sale transaction, or a lease, or a rental in a lease transaction.
So what's the difference? Why not just call it interest? Why return? Is it not the same thing? Or it's just
no, it's not the same
words?
thing, because in no, it's not the words. It is the reality. It's the substance of the transaction. In a loan transaction, you are just earning money on money. But in a non-interest transaction, there is a transfer of an asset. There is an asset that is involved. So you have a market risk of owning the asset, and you also have a direct impact on the real economy. Because whenever you have an asset that is acquired and transferred, that is an economic activity that involves the real sector of the economy. I mean, it's not just the monetary. It's not just money earning money. but there has to be an asset that is involved. So the substance of the transaction is the essential difference. Besides, also, even the form of the transaction is different.
Okay, so for my viewers that are watching right now and they like what you're saying and they want to participate, they want to be part of what the CBN is doing in the non-interest segment, what can they do? Should they go to the non-interest banking institutions, or should they go to the conventional banking institutions that have Islamic desk or non-interest desk? What do you advise?
Yeah, exactly. My advice is first of all, they read the guidelines, which could be downloaded from the CBN website. The guidelines for the non-interest. They let them see the conditionalities that they have to fulfill as beneficiaries, and then let them see the participating financial institutions, and then they approach them. They are normally the full-fledged Islamic banks, non-interest banks, also the conventional banks that have got windows of non-interest banking. We have some conventional banks, about 2 of them, that have got windows of non-interest banking. So they could approach any of the branches of these institutions, in addition to the licensed microfinance and non-interest microfinance institutions. So they could approach these institutions, which are the PFIs, the participating financial institutions, for these schemes, so as to make present their application and obtain this financing through them.
Doctor, do you have an idea of how many non-interest banks we have right now in Nigeria? I don't want to call the names of the ones I know, but do you have a rough idea of the banking institutions that are non-interest?
We have 2 fully fledged non-interest banking institutions. One of them has got a national authorization. It has branches it has an authorization to have branches all over the country, and right now it has got branches in several parts of the country. And we have another one which has a subnational authorization that is in only parts of the geopolitical zones of Nigeria. These 2 are fully fledged. Then we have got windows. We have got 2 windows of conventional banks, one with a national authorization and another one with a subnational authorization. Then we've got 3 microfinance banks. They are all unit microfinance banks. They are not state originated. We have 3 of them. So these are the institutions that have been licensed by the CBN by CBN to offer non-interest banking products.
Doctor, explain to my viewers because all this falls under Islamic finance. Explain to my viewers what Islamic finance is. I know, I remember I spoke to you some time ago, like in 2012 or 2011. That was like 8-9 years ago, on this Islamic finance when the guidelines and code was being released. I think under SLS, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, as Central Bank Governor then. Speak to me about the evolution so far of Islamic finance in Nigeria, because you know that even some infrastructure is being financed by Islamic bonds, like Sukuk bonds, for example. Yes, so speak to me about the Islamic finance evolution in Nigeria.
Yeah, basically Islamic finance is an alternative way of financial intermediation that does not accept basing the intermediation on interest-based lending, but rather on a number of contracts that are either profit-sharing or profit-generating. It also does not accept investment in what it considers as unlawful investments, like investment in tobacco, in liquor industry, in the armaments trade. And also, it does not permit excessive speculation, nor does it permit gambling. So these are these activities. They are the ones that set Islamic finance apart. And in doing that, a number of institutions have been created, both in the banking, insurance, and the capital market sectors. And in Nigeria, since the guidelines were introduced for banking, Securities and Exchange Commission also issued guidelines for the capital market, and we have got capital market entities that are offering ethical funds based on Islamic capital market concepts. And we also have insurance entities, Islamic insurance entities that are called Takaful, licensed by NICOM, because NICOM also issued guidelines for Takaful. So the industry has achieved a lot of progress within this less than 1 decade. And part of this progress is that the Debt Management Office, which was part of a committee that was formed by the CBN, a joint committee on alternative finance that brought together the CBN, SEC, the ICRC, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, and the Debt Management Office to come up with a blueprint for alternative finance to close the infrastructure deficit in the Nigerian economy. And it proposed the issuance of sovereign sukuk by the Debt Management Office. And since then, in 2017, we had a first issuance of 100 billion sukuk for the construction of roads in all the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. And these zones they have been clearly identified as being, the mileages have been identified as built by sukuk. And a second issuance was done also in 2018, and currently a third issuance of 150 billion, which was 446% oversubscribed, was also issued. All of these are geared towards development of infrastructure. And this is what distinguishes Islamic finance from conventional finance. In Islamic finance, it deals with the real economy, like this development of infrastructure. I mean, it is the debt component of Islamic finance does not just is not just taken to cover the deficit of a government that could be used for for purposes other than actually impacting on the real economy. It has to be tied to projects, and it has to be tied to asset production or transfer. This is what has made Islamic finance stand apart. So you can see that we've got a lot of progress in Nigeria, the way the institution has developed. And now all that is needed now is the issuance of sukuk to become a regular issuance, so that we have a yield curve which will encourage the corporates to also enter into the sukuk market and tap it, as it has done in many other jurisdictions.
You know, it's quite something of progress, because like I said earlier, since I spoke to you 8-9 years ago till now, it's good that we're also reviewing the evolution, because as at that time we spoke, I don't think some of those banks were even existing. Some of those banks were not even licensed at that time. So it's good that we are here now in 2020 chronicling what has happened in the last 9 or so years. But Doctor, would you agree that there seems to be some kind of restrictions around Islamic finance or Islamic banking? With those small restrictions, do you think there's still some kind of improvements that can be done, or some kind of room for Islamic finance to grow in the country?
Yeah, the restrictions, Nancy, they do apply in the model of in the business model. But at the same time that the business model is restrictive in terms of certain investment activities that the Islamic banks are not allowed to engage in, at the same time it has become a trademark for the Islamic financial services industry in also attracting alternative investments that also do not want to participate in these kind of investments. And now there is, all over the world, there is growing convergence between Islamic finance and socially responsible finance, because there is a lot of common ground in terms of investments. So actually the restrictions, they are also opening up other opportunities for the non-interest, for the Islamic finance business model. And actually this could be confirmed from the, from the profits and the performance of the Islamic banks. You know, one of the first bank that was licensed, it started with a license with a regional authorization. And within a few years, it has grown in terms of profitability and ability to acquire a license with a national authorization with branches in most parts of the country.
Do you think that Nigeria can reap the benefits of Islamic finance despite the nuances? Because I remember when that policy was being, thought about, with you at the center, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi then, I remember some controversies around, you know, but it seems that we've gone past that now. Do you think that Nigeria will be able to reap the benefits of Islamic finance, seeing what's happening around the world with Islamic banking and with Islamic finance?
Yeah, definitely Nigeria stands to benefit from Islamic finance a lot. What happened, Nancy, about 9 years ago was based on a lot of misperception and a lot of mistrust, thinking that it was not what it was proposed to be, which is a simple alternative way of financial intermediation. But now those misperceptions have been corrected, and people now have realized that this is a business model. And Nigeria has stood to benefit from it. Several states have benefited from the Islamic Development Bank financing, which Islamic Development Bank, Nigeria is a member of the Islamic Development Bank, and a lot of financings have come into the country to numerous states. Luna State, some states in the southeast, all the banks, including conventional banks, have got a Murabaha line of financing, which is a kind of asset purchase that is based on a sale with markup from the Islamic Development Bank. So even the Sukuk itself, you know, it's another benefit of Islamic finance that Nigeria has been able to realize, because with this Sukuk, the roads that were built with the Sukuk, they are roads of critical economic importance for the country. And the capital market is ready to diversify. Now remain with investing in conventional bonds, but they want another alternative, another source of investment, another source of generating return for their investment. And the Sukuk has offered that. That was why you see the Sukuk being oversubscribed, especially these recent issues. 150 million was the book size, but the orders were over 400, about 446 billion of naira, which shows that there is a lot of appetite for Islamic finance products in the market, and Nigeria definitely could declare that it is benefiting from Islamic finance over these years. And if actually Nigeria were to issue a Sukuk, a dollar-denominated Sukuk in the international markets, you'll see the amount of money that it will generate. And it is a low-cost fund. It is a low-cost fund, as we have seen in the Sukuk that is being issued by the International Liquidity Management Corporation in Malaysia, of which Nigeria is a member. The coupon rate is quite low compared with Eurobonds. So there is this potential, and it will be, and this organization is looking for assets from member countries to make them underlying assets for Sukuk issuances. This is another area of potential benefit to the Nigerian economy from Islamic finance.
If you take a look at Islamic finance, you see that perhaps some of the advantages that it has over conventional finance or Islamic banking over conventional banking was just what you said earlier, that you don't earn money on money. That is like trading money. You earn money from identifiable assets, asset that you can identify, and perhaps also has high moral standing. Do you see that as some kind of restrictions on how Islamic banking or how Islamic banking can grow in Nigeria? You see some conventional banks now going into mobile banking and all of that. Is there that kind of room for Islamic banking?
Yeah, the Islamic banking, as I said, Nancy, is basically a method of intermediation that restricts itself to a certain business model. The business model is not restricted. And in terms of the avenues of offering these services, all the fintech tools that are being used by conventional banks, they are also being used by Islamic banks.
Okay.
Mobile banking, easy mobile payment systems, and all the fintech solutions that are there for conventional, they also apply to Islamic finance, because these are basically, yeah.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Doctor, this was quite getting interesting, but we've come to the end of the discussion. Thank you very much. I hope we'll also see the next 9 years or 10 years to be able to, you know, give a history of what has happened between now and then. So thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome, Nancy. It's a pleasure.
All right, I'll be speaking with Dr. Bashir Aliyu Umar, the Deputy Chairman, Financial Regulation Advisory Council of Experts at the CBN. I can see Oyediya in the news studio. I'll see you all tomorrow, God willing. Hello, Oyediya.
Hello, Nancy. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for watching our video. Please hit the subscribe button below, turn on post notification to follow all our updates.